Howdy all, this is Shane and we're opening the In the Blues mailbag for the first time in a long time. I'm going to call this episode 1. I did have another series called Shane's Mailbag maybe about a year or two ago, but we're going to start with this one and keep them going. Maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I'm yet to determine that right now, but I get hundreds of emails, I get hundreds of questions on my videos, and I'm going to go through some of the most common ones that I get asked to hopefully make my life replying a little bit easier, and then you can also ask me more questions on this video and I can follow that up with another video if I've missed anything in particular. So, alright, I'm terrible at pronouncing some names, so bear with me if I get them wrong, I apologize. So Adrian Preciado asks me, what kind of pickups are in my Telecaster? They are Joe Barton, Danny Gatton pickups. They're noiseless, so they don't hum or buzz. Middle position is extremely chimey. The back pickup on my Telecaster is actually the hot bridge pickup. So Joe Barton make 2 bridge pickups. I've actually got the hot or the modern, and Dr. Rick actually has the regular one. So, but in mine, Danny Gatton, Joe Barton pickups. They weren't that easy to install from memory, but man, they sound good. I've never looked back. I just don't miss the buzz at all, and they sound fat as too. If you're into overdrive, they work great with a bit of gain as well. They sound fantastic. They don't squeal like the original 52 Tele pickups that I had in there. I have another question from Alta Bandai. He writes, good guitar player, can you teach me some riffs? I'll actually be putting together a whole series of instructional videos either early May or it's going to be after July. I'm actually taking a holiday or vacation for a while. So I'm going to chill out and relax and get some sun. And then when I come back, or before I go, depending on what I get tied up doing, that'll be when I do a lot more lessons. I've actually got a whole bunch of cool ideas sort of formulating on paper, pen and paper at the moment. So yeah, I plan on doing some really cool, really sort of different approach to blues licks. So hopefully that helps a few people. Now, a lot of people ask me about the Joyo amp modeling pedals and if they can use them in front of an amp. This is one comment I get asked a lot. Of course, give it a go, see what you think of it. They're one of those pedals that you can use to record directly into an interface or play live straight into a mixer or PA system. But yeah, you can plug it in front of the amp. If you've got a clean amp, try it out that way, and also try it in the effects loop and see what happens. Just experiment and try to get the best sound that works for you. Another question I get asked a lot is in reference to the Behringer speakers. I have a set of active 15-inch B215Ds as well as the 212Ds, which are the 12-inch equivalent. I get asked this a lot, which one sounds better? The 15 blows the 12 out of the water. Everything about it sounds better. It's not that much more expensive. It's bigger, so you get more sound, and it just sounds more balanced. And the reason I say that is because every time I use the 212D for vocals, I have to wind the bass almost all the way out. I mean, it might work better for DJ things, I don't know, but the 15-inch speakers are definitely the way to go. Here's another question from Marion Borio. He asks, hey Shane, has the Mustang 3 become your main amp now? I think for me, I don't really have a main amp, and I know that sounds kind of stupid, but what I do is I take whatever amp I need to a gig or to a room where I know I'm going to get the most out of it. There's certain occasions where the Mustang 3 is perfect. Like if I don't want to bring my pedals and I don't want to worry about being too loud, the Mustang 3 actually sounds better at a lower volume than most tube amps will. It's just fact. It just does. Tube amps sound fantastic when you turn them all the way up. So there's certain rooms where the Mustang 4 would be my preference over the 3 because of the 212 speakers. So it's all about the room. I still love tube amps. I don't think like I'm not playing them now that I've found the Mustangs. I'm using both. I actually really enjoy both. I don't plan on selling either of them. I did, however, sell my Supersonic 60 because I couldn't walk for almost 2 weeks. So I hurt a disc in my back carrying that amp and it sucked, but I had to get rid of it. I downsized to the 68 Deluxe Reverb, which I'm actually really loving, by the way. I think it's really awesome. I do miss the Supersonic because that was a ball terror. So Tevin Shee Lockhart asks me whether or not the Mustang amps take pedals very well. I've actually posted a few videos on that concept as well. I think they sort of sound better with what's built in. If you've got a pedal that really sort of changes your clean tone, then it's going to sound fine. If you've got one that is trying to push the amp like a volume boost pedal, it's not really going to work. So you have to just use like a tube screamer, which definitely colors your sound if you turn the gain up and it gives you that mid hump thing, or like a Plimsoll or whatever you've got. They don't sound very good with my Klon, which is like my favorite pedal, because what the Klon does on a tube amp just doesn't work on the Mustang. The built-in overdrive pedal, just the overdrive one, is my favorite. It's the one with the more controls, not the green box one, but the overdrive. That sounds great. It can sound as fat or as thin as you like, and you can get whatever kind of sound you want out of it. For me, that's all I use, but you can use regular kind of pedals with it as well. It does have an effects loop too, so if you've got a delay pedal that you prefer to use, it's tap tempo and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have the extra foot switches, then yeah, go for it. Give it a shot, see how it sounds. Alright, one more Mustang question. Someone asks if they adjust something on the Mustang while they're playing live, does it automatically save the change, or if they go to a different preset and then back, will it be back to how it was before they made the change? And so I get asked that a little bit as well. So you've got an option of saving it, or if you go back, it basically wipes whatever change you made. So it's nice and easy. If you have more gain or less gain, or you've added a tweak to one of the effects pedals, when you turn it off and on, or if you go forward a preset and back a preset, it's going to sound how it did before you changed anything. That's just how it is. So if you're in a room a lot, say you play in the same place every week and you get a really nice tone out of that amp, hit save, go back, turn it back on, bang, you got the same tone. You don't have to fiddle around with anything. That's a really cool little trick. Or alternatively, if you use the Supersonic preset, for example, and you play in 2 or 3 different venues, set it up for 2 or 3 different venues. Just move the patch to each of the 3, tweak it for the rooms if that's something that works out for you as well. So just little tips there. Marco Porres asks me whether or not I prefer the Fender Champion Series amplifiers or the Mustang. Mustang, hands down. That's just my personal choice. I don't really feel like there's much benefit other than price on going for those Champion amplifiers, like the new ones. Not like the Fender Champs, the old tube ones, but the Fender Champion Series ones. They're maybe the same price. Depends where you live too, but for me, the Mustang just wipes the floor. But then again, that's my opinion, so go play both, make a decision on which one you like the best, because if you find just plugging in something simple that sounds good to you, works fine, go for it. But the Mustangs aren't that complicated. I know a few guys who have got them now and they've had no problems acclimatizing to them from 30 or 40 years of just using great tube amps. So yeah, that's just a testament to how easy the interface is. Here's another question from Frank Phillip regarding the bias and sag controls on the Fender Mustang interface, and it's also on the amp as well. So basically, sag, what that will do is give you more or less breakup. So imagine you play hard. It's at that point where it starts to clip in tube land, for example. The lower the sag control, the more it's going to sort of go chuggy. The higher up the sag control is, it will stay a little bit cleaner, and that's just something you can tweak. It's maybe a setting that a lot of people won't fiddle around with, but yeah, it does make a difference on some of the presets. It's audibly louder with it further to the right. And same with the bias setting as well. That's one of those settings that basically you can run your amp cooler or hotter depending on which way you run the tubes to give it a different sound or a different voicing as well, and how it responds to your playing. Just fiddle around with it. I mean, you can always reset it or go back if you don't like it. One of my good friends in the US, Stu, Mr. Spalding, asked me whether or not the Moen pedals are available in the US. I actually don't know, but if there's a way I can send one to you or get one over to you, if you want to organize it, let me know, man. I can order it to me. I can send it to you. However you want to do it, we can work that out. I'm happy to do that. They're really good. They are really, really good. I think the Deep Blue is one of the best Strat pedals I've used in a long time, and it got a lot of good comments actually. It's great for Telecasters as well. If you want that big fat, really chuggy kind of tone, give them a shot. And they're like $30 in Australia, which is like $25 US plus the shipping costs. So yeah, let me know if anyone's interested. Maybe I can order a few and sell a few out. So cool. Here's another question about the Fender Excelsior. I still get questions about them. I guess I put a few videos up at the right time and they got quite a few hits still. And Sabbath Bloody Sabbath 1 asks me, he's been looking at the amp for a while and he wants to know if he could play in a rock and roll band with it, with the aid of some pedals. And that's kind of one of those questions I don't know how to answer, but my immediate response is no. It's got a vintage kind of breakup tone, which might work in certain types of tones like the Stones or that kind of music. If you're going like heavy metal, I guess you could probably use it with some pedals, but you're not going to get the sound you probably want, nor the volume. It's not a loud amp. So this is one of those amps that you can't really use live unless you're watching your volume. It's not going to get over the top of a drummer. It's just really not that loud. But they sound cool. If you can mic up and your band's got some self-control, go for it. So just a little bit of information. A while back I upgraded my cameras to these Canon XA20 video cameras, which I'm now using. My old cameras weren't as responsive in room lighting like this. They just weren't very good. So I went out and I bought some, studio lighting, these big things. And the thing with that is I used to run them really close to my face. So I just want to give a bit of a shout out to Rick. I really appreciate your comments. I think his username's like north of 50 now or north of something like that. So yeah, I really appreciate the comments he's given me as a photographer to light the room a little bit easier on the brightness. So I'm getting better at it. It's a learning thing for me too. I've been doing videos for a long time, but lighting is not something that I'm too familiar with. I used to just have one in my face and another one off to the side. Now they're both off to the side, kind of like not really pointing at me anymore. And although when I look this way, you can see the light box reflections. Well, now when I'm looking straight, you shouldn't have any, which is at least, I can just take them off and then you're not going to get any. So yeah, that's a tip and some suggestions that I take on board. So if there's something about the production that you don't like or you like, let me know and I'll do more of it or less of it or try to change it. That's something that I've really been working on. And just to give you a little bit of insight as well, how I'm doing this, excuse my mess. I have a Rode shotgun mic just above my head. So I'm running my mic stand here with a little condenser mic made for this purpose. It probably could be further back this way a little bit or whatever, but it's pointing at my mouth and I don't have the room, as you can see, I've got guitars and junk everywhere. So that's a little bit about the audio. So when you hear me talk, I've either got it pointing straight off the camera pointing at me, or I've got an overhead now. And hopefully the speech is a lot easier to hear now than it was earlier. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching this. Hopefully I've answered some of your questions. If you've got more, leave them below and I'll follow this video up maybe once every Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. I get in the habit of doing this more often. It's actually quicker for me to do it this way than just to keep replying to text on YouTube or Facebook. Thanks for watching, and yeah, you can contact me in the usual spots, either below, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google+. I don't get on Google+ much. Let me know if I should. Alright, I'll catch you later. See ya.